Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Sunday Night Live, your favorite automotive show where we talk about all those things that improve the customer experience at your store. Because the greater the customer experience, the more they come back to you for everything they need when they need it. And they send their friends, their family, their coworkers, the people they go to church with, everybody, and they tell their entire online world. How cool is that? All because you're offering them a better experience. So whether it's the front of the store, the back of the store, or somewhere in the middle, doesn't really matter. Every week we bring on the experts to share with you what they do or what they've done to improve that customer experience. And once a month, I donate a segment to TechForce.org. TechForce is an incredible organization. They are doing great things to help the industry with technicians. I think it was $2.4 million or something like that slated for scholarship monies and all the other things they do. You can sign up for a free account at techforce.org and kind of move around there, see what's going on. There's a large community of technicians. Now, it's not farmland. You're not going to go in there and poach people, but you can see there are training programs that are offered, not certification stuff, but let's say you want to find out how to replace a ball joint or control arm, things like that. Those are the types of videos to help you educate the new people that you're bringing into your store. And they help me with great guys like this one you see next to me, Charles Woodruff. He's the CEO and founder of Acceler8 Automotive Training Program. And he's got one heck of a story to tell. So welcome, Charles.
Thank you, sir.
So tell us your background and your background, your vision, and what brings you to this point.
Oh, the background. Well, that goes all the way back to, being in high school, being a kid, getting your first car and building it out and always wanting to fix it up, lower it, lift it, whichever direction you wanted to go with it. But my biggest forte was I became a police officer here in a county just north of LA, and ended up working there for 27 years. During my 27 years, did a lot of great things. Got to ride a motorcycle, was on SWAT. I was part of gang units on the streets.
Wait. SWAT?
Yes, SWAT.
Like special weapons and tactics.
Yes. Lots of different toys in there too. Yes.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah, that was, and in the department we were at, we actually had a combination of a street gang team, and you were part of SWAT at the same time. That way we could stay together full time.
Okay.
So got to do that. Kind of on the after work kind of stuff I ended up doing was I became a basketball coach, and that was early on in my career. Had some mentors in the department that kind of pushed me into it. Became a coach at a local high school, loved it. But didn't really see that quality or the outcome of it until I was training the students or training the young men and kind of seeing them, and they didn't really seem like they were paying attention. They were just kind of going through the motions. But it wasn't until I saw some of the kids 3 years later, they came back from college and they see me in the streets. They say, hey, I just want to thank you for everything you did. Because of what you did, that's what sparked me. I want to become a police officer. I want to be able to do something great in my life. And that really kind of like set a little tone to me where later on, a few years later in my career, started with a friend of mine. We were both gearheads, and we kind of just said, you know what, let's connect automotive into coaching kids. And that kind of sparked our first program, which, like I said, it was up in a smaller county just north of LA. We built that program out, very successful for 10 years, but we kept it as kind of a workshop, just a place for kids to show up. We teach them some very basic stuff with automotive style, do a couple projects here and there. But I always knew I wanted to do something even bigger. Ended up retiring from law enforcement and went ahead and opened up a new program in LA. And knowing that LA is going to be the big spot to be at, also started pulling in some great resources. I brought in marketing teams, ID agency, which is the co-founder, Victor Carrillo, his company, and just just started learning so much more about the industry. Got involved with SEMA. I'm on one of the SEMA committees now, and just being able to learn all the different things that the industry offers. So with that, that then allowed us to push and build this program, the Acceler8 program, into something even more. So instead of just the workshop style, we're building this out to be a workforce development program where students can come in and end up getting trained and then get into careers on the back end.
Well, you know what, I want to get to a couple of comments and I'll follow up on it. Robert Allen Carvel, TechForce, the future of our industry. Yes, they're doing incredible things. And my buddy Mike Vogel, Paul Meijer, thanks for continuing the discussion on the importance of the automotive technician shortage and the people. Mike, I want to let you know that there's a glitch with the program where you don't always see the comments that come through until after the show's over, at which point you feel like a schmuck because you missed the question, but not intentionally. So by having it on my phone, I can see Mike's comments because Mike's comments are not showing up on the portal. So that's I think I've discovered a workaround, Mike. So that's a good thing. But what I wanted to follow up on with that is yes, there is a shortage of technicians.
Yes.
But what you guys do is truly remarkable because you basically, you're targeting at-risk youth and you're giving them an opportunity to enter our automotive business, which I have to tell you is one incredible business. I mean, it's always been great for me, but now, you know, when I started, we were grease monkeys. Okay, we rebuilt alternators, we rebuilt starters. Now nobody knows what that is. They go to the parts counter and say, "I need to swap out a starter," and they hand you a box. Right? It's a different world today. So the kids today, they're not becoming mechanics; they're becoming electromechanical engineers, right? And you're giving these kids an opportunity for really, really great things. I mean, the sky's the limit in our business today.
Right, and that's kind of one of our key areas in our program is we're connecting the dots. We're working in and we work with me moving to LA with the program. I ended up working with LAPD, so we work with one of the community teams in LAPD. And for us, we call it like the boots on the ground. We're in the neighborhoods, you know, we're in Watts, South LA, and these are areas that don't have automotive programming offered to the students, to the kids. So we're able to go in there, get them sparked with our experiences, which is kind of our first phase of our program, just getting them excited, doing a quick workshop, showing them the engine. We get kids together and they're fighting over who's going to take the bolt off because they haven't used tools before. These are kind of the things that just you really see like, wow, this is really needed. And this is also a gem with these young men and women that are in these neighborhoods that now they get sparked and excited that this is all something out there for them. You know, you mean I could use a computer to actually, you know, tune a car, or, you know, the CAD systems, or I can design parts. You know, I mean, there's just so much that we can go into as far as what the industry has to offer, and they just don't know about it until we can end up bringing them in and talking to them about it.
A lot of these kids might not even have the opportunity for computers or something like this.
Correct. Yep.
So give us kind of a 30,000 foot overview of the program overview, like any type of specific training programs or specific skills you aim to impart.
So right now we're in our 4th year. So we just started year 4 in the program. Some of the first things we did, again, just getting off the ground, was making our nonprofit, connecting with our foundations, working with experts like TechForce, and being able to learn, you know, exactly where we need to go, where we need to pivot to get these kids the best training. From there, we ended up really starting out with what we're calling our experience program. And our experience program really blew up about 3 years ago. We started working with Formula Drift, And with that, that's given us an opportunity to bring students, young men and women, to the track and being able to get a behind the scenes tour of Formula Drift, meeting drivers, meeting the Formula Drift staff, doing track walks. I mean, just getting to be able to see something they've never seen before. And we're able to do that following all of their different events throughout the country. So we've actually gone around the country with them at their events. We've been doing that for 3 years, bringing out about 50 students. And now it's going to grow to where we're going to start bringing out 150, ultimate plans of bringing out 700 per round to the events. So that's really great. And with that, we ended up saying, you know what, if we're going to do experiences with Formula Drift, let's do locally. We have the Clash and the NASCAR event at the Coliseum. So we're able to bring out kids from the Watts neighborhood in South LA to a NASCAR event, and they got to do a track walk and see themselves up on the screen. So that's kind of our first phase, is really just getting this experience out there, getting people to know about the program, letting them understand that automotive is there. Since then, we've been doing several of our smaller, what we call workshops, 4 to 6 weeks. And we've been holding those at the Peterson Museum, which has been like a dream to be able to be at the Peterson Museum down in the basement, working in the shop with all the other cars, bringing students down there. So we've had 3 successful summers at Peterson. And then just recently, we are starting to do classes at the Lions Museum, which is down near Person and almost to Long Beach area. And there they have a shop in the back where we're actually able to have the students come in, and we have kind of a shop dedicated to us. So we're building that out. We just finished an 8-week course, and we're going to be starting another 8-week course here in a couple weeks. So our goal on these courses right now, just getting them started. You know, we're using Snap-on toolkit training kits that are actually just training them on their tools, training them on measuring. We have the meter kit. We can train them on meters. So we're just trying to get them kind of prepared and give them that little bit of knowledge so that they know where they want to go. Do they want to go straight to a job, or do they want to go and further their education at some of our local community colleges?
You know what? I mean, I get goosebumps when I hear you talking about this kind of stuff, because think about it, right? These are kids not necessarily in the best areas. That after school, what do they do? Do they hang out? What are the opportunities? And here you're just bringing them into a world it just blows my mind.
Right.
I haven't even been to some of these NASCAR events. I can only imagine a young kid. What are the ages of some of these students?
I mean, that particular group, we had anywhere from, I think we had 12 all the way to 24, 25 in that group. We had over 100 students that got to go to the Clash.
Wow.
And be out there on the track. And at some point, the cameras were on while we were walking, so they got to actually see themselves on the Jumbotron. So that was actually really cool. And they actually got to sign the starting line. I mean, just crazy things that you don't think of, but these are moments in their lives that are now gonna spark something, either automotive or just the fact that they want to get out, get more training, become go to college, and get a good paying career job.
Robert Allen Carvel says, "Great job, Charles. We need more mentors like you in our business."
Thank you.
I second, third, and quadruple that one, man. And Joseph Clementi, Paul Meijer, thanks for continuing to champion the message. I feel really fortunate that I got connected with TechForce and that I'm able to be a part of what they do and to carry their mission forward, because I think it's important. I benefited from growing up in a great area. I had a lot of things that came my way that a lot of the kids that you guys bring into this don't really have. And you just can't. You just can't. Its value goes so much beyond anything you could put a number on. To impact a young person's life in such a way that you go from having limited opportunities, and now you bring them into the world where you literally have unlimited opportunities.
Right. And I think that's a key thing you're talking about is partnerships, is
Yeah,
bringing people together. The student may not know what all the back, behind the scenes is happening, but we're bringing them all together. And, for us with TechForce, it's the ability for us to go to Atlanta with Formula Drift, but now the message is already in the Atlanta area that we're coming. You can sign
yeah,
up for it. You can come to the track. And then once you have that amazing experience, now you can go to the TechForce Foundation website and you can actually see what training's in the area. And then you can apply for a scholarship and actually get money and funding to be able to help you get into that school.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's just putting everybody together and getting the job done.
When you go on the website, techforce.org, you'll see all of the companies that are partnered with this. So it's a giant effort. It's guys like Charles and his company. It's companies like Snap-on, major OEMs, Valvoline, all these different companies. I don't even have them all memorized, but there's a lot you can see on the website. And
Right.
everybody does their part. I do a small part here by bringing this on Sunday Night Live, every month. But yeah, everybody does their part. Robert Allen Carvel says Mopar Express Lane invites Mopar CAP students to NHRA events to thank them for their commitment to becoming a future technician. I mean, that's huge.
Yep. And again, that's all the partnerships. That's everyone bringing everybody to the table, because everybody we talk to in the industry needs employees.
Yeah,
So
everybody.
and it may not be the person wrenching, but and that's what we teach our students when we talk to them. Like, there's so much out there. If you go to SEMA, that's a glimpse of what the industry is, all the way from making tires and rims and suspension to motors. I mean, there's just so much out there you can do. We took a tour of CP Carrillo, where they make pistons, which is out here in California.
Okay.
And I was just so amazed how this one, or actually it's 4 buildings now, they've grown so big, but everyone's there making a piston, one little component of the motor, but so much is going into that one component to be
it's
made.
huge.
Yeah, and that's just one little small piece of the pie. When you look at automotive,
People don't even fathom what's involved. I mean, I used to build engines back in the day, plastic gauging the bearings, right? I mean, we're talking crazy tolerances. The
right.
piston ring, crisscrossing the hone and the cylinder, and the rings placed just so. It really pretty amazing stuff. So there's programs, and there's more programs, but what's kind of your unique approach to this?
I mean, for us, again, this is that piece where we're kind of below these huge. When we say programs, we're thinking of the huge tech schools, or your big community college, and they're teaching, and these students that are going to those places, they all a lot of them knew that they wanted to get into the automotive. We're down in the trenches where the student doesn't even know anything about it, and then we get them excited and sparked about it. And we're doing it in a way with our nonprofit that it's not costing them anything. So they don't pay for our classes; they're free classes. They come in, and what we're going to do once you come into our group and you join our team is we're going to throw every resource we have at you. Our LAPD partners in the CSP program, they talk a lot about that, how they're taking an approach, instead of being an officer that just keeps going to the same call over and over again, you keep seeing the same problem. Let's think of a different way to take care of that problem. Let's throw some more resources in it. And that's what we want to do when we're bringing kids into our program. So we're going to bring every single company we work with, get them on TechForce, any way we can do it, we're going to give them that edge so we can make them successful in their future endeavors.
This is community-based policing on steroids, man.
Pretty much.
This is beyond what anybody even thinks about.
Yes. Our program where we're at, we're actually working with a nonprofit, LACRC, and that's kind of the umbrella nonprofit where a lot of us are working in there. So we have welding programs, our automotive program, future plans of having auto body, having all that in there. So when a student connects with LACRC, they have these opportunities. What are you interested in? What do you want to do? And then feed them right to us. So again, partnerships. It's everybody working together.
Solid traits.
Yes.
Tim Von Algier says more cities and more states need something like this you offer.
Yes.
This is huge.
Yes.
Now,
definitely.
So are you planning on branching out, or are there other organizations like yours that kind of come into the fray?
We definitely are, it's one of those things that's kind of our 3-4 year vision to be able to open up more of these. And so we're really perfecting this particular setup and how we're doing it and who our partners are. And then once we really perfect it and we get it going, because we have a couple other little phases we want to add to this. And once we get those all kind of up and running, then we want to look at being able to branch out. Because again, in law enforcement, we can make phone calls to all the different agencies and say, here we go. This is what we have. Here's the book. And let's open up another one over there. So definitely everyone's interested. When we travel around with Formula Drift, the first groups that we contact are our law enforcement brothers and sisters. So we contact those places because we know they're working with organizations that are in the areas we want to connect with the students. So we met a really great program in Atlanta, the At Promise program, and they're funded by the Atlanta Police Foundation. They have actually they have 3 locations in Atlanta where it's pretty much a kind of a boys and girls club where a kid can walk in and all these services are offered: mental health services, food services, all these different programming. They can make music. They have a studio in the back. Wow. And in one of the locations, they actually have an officer. There's a house that's right next to it, and the officer lives there. And so the agreement is, hey, if we ever need you and need to go talk to you, can we just go over and knock on the door? And the officer gets to live right there at a lower rate. And so it's like stuff like that we're like, wow, that would be really amazing to do here in LA, to have centers like that. So those are kind of our first goal, is to open up centers in LA and then branch out to other cities.
It must have seen some wicked changes. I mean, what you do is huge, and you have great support, but it still takes a lot to orchestrate it all. People don't realize how much work goes into it behind the scenes.
Yes, it's like any other business. I mean, it's just bringing the partners together, letting them know what's happening. We're working with foundations like the Gene Haas Foundation, which is a big supporter, Dell Webb Foundation, and they've come in and said, yeah, we're going to be part of this. Here we go. We're going to help out. But yeah, it takes an army to bring everybody together.
How many people on your team?
Right now we have 10. And then we have, out of the 10, 3 of them are instructors. So we have a very small team.
Well, look, the program is in its infancy, really. 4 years is not a lot of time for what you're doing, and you're already making an impact. You were telling me about a young lady that had no experience in automotive, and what's she doing now? She's working on EVs or something, right?
Yes, she's so one of our main instructors. He's a professor out at the Cypress College Automotive Program. He has a beautiful shop there. I mean, he does engine rebuilding. And we had a young lady go through our program. She ended up going into his, and she was there for 2 years. After the second year, he ended up helping her, and this is our instructor's Russ. Russ ended up helping her get into a Tesla internship program. And she didn't think she was going to make it, or she wasn't going to get it. She did the interview. They loved her and they hired her. So now she's an actual Tesla technician. So those are our kind of guides, or our examples when we're talking to all of our other students. Like, look, this is an example right here. You can do anything.
The number of women in our industry is very, very small. So a success story like that For me, that's huge. Nicole Ferreira says, sorry for being tardy, LOL. Oh, no worries. It's the internet. It lives on forever. If I get struck by a bus tomorrow, this will be on there forever and ever and ever. Hopefully won't get struck by a bus.
True.
But yeah, no, that's an incredible story, man.
We have that one, and then we have also one of our first classes at the Peterson. We ended up having a student, one of the LAPD officers heard about our program, heard about it was coming up, for the Peterson class, and she worked in one of the areas, the housing areas, and she particularly was assigned. She knew there was a student, 17-year-old, that would love to have been in the program. So she went to his door, knocked on it, and said, hey, you got to go to this class. So he ended up coming to our class. He was an awesome student, quiet. I didn't know until about 3 weeks into it. She ends up, the officer tells me the story, and she's like, yeah, I pulled him aside. So you got to go. He's here. She's like, he has to get up early because he has his own detailing company. So he would get up at like 5 a.m. to detail a couple cars so he could be at our class at 10. And those are like those moments in your life where like, oh, maybe I'm not working hard enough. This 17-year-old right here is killing it,
Wow.
So he loved the class, and he has since graduated. He's at CSUN, Cal State Northridge, and he's actually started his own detailing company, him and his cousin. So we've had him actually come out to a couple of our classes and talk to the students about, anything's possible. So he's our little entrepreneur, car detailer.
I think that's so key. That's an area where, I think a lot of dealerships miss a huge opportunity, people want to learn from their peers. They want to hear from their peers, what they've done to become successful at something, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to just be told by the adult, this is what you can do. No, they want to hear from somebody that, wow, I busted my butt. I learned what I needed to learn. And now I've got a career. I'm doing X, I'm doing Y, I'm doing something, Yep. Dealerships can, and I say this like a broken record over and over. Take your A tech, your B tech, your C tech, your lube person, and take that contingent, go to a school and talk to the students at a young age. You talked about some of the kids are as young as 12 years old. These kids are impressionable, okay? Mm-hmm. The answer isn't you have to go to a 4-year college. You have to incur $250,000 worth of debt by the time you're out of college. That's not the answer for everybody. There's certainly nothing wrong with it, but let's face it, it doesn't work for everybody. You go to the schools, and if they don't have an automotive program, we donate lots of money to our communities. Figure out what they need to start a program in the school. Mm-hmm. And bring them that program. Create the program, nurture the program, and you'll have apprenticeships that come out of that. You'll have other kids that will come into automotive. I mean, let's face it, a tech today that knows anything can make 6 figures, well into 6 figures. Okay, that's not unheard of. There are a lot of people that come out of college that don't make that, or are struggling to find work, right? So make plans to go to the school and bring your team with you. Tell them what automotive has done for you. Tell them what automotive has done for these people. Mm-hmm. It's been great for me at a young age in my 20s. This is my 45th year in automotive. And every day I still get up like this, like little kid smiling because I love it.
I mean, because it's changed so much. I mean, we could probably have a whole other show on what has changed from when you were 20, in the 45 years. But that's the exciting part. And that's what I tell the kids now. I'm like, we're sitting here teaching you today, but you have, just like we had 20, 30 years later, the change. Yeah. I tell the kids, the joke is, when I was a kid in high school and all that, we thought we were cool because we were putting spinners on the car. We thought that was like high tech. I go, you guys are solving charging problems. You guys are solving, alternative fuel vehicles. Which way do we go? I mean, it's just such cool stuff out there that you guys can be involved in.
So it's amazing. Robert Allen Carvel says we're seeing more lady technicians entering the automotive business more than ever now. And that's a good thing, but it's still not nearly as many as we should have. And look, this is not, I don't have scientific data to back this up, but I would tend to think that young ladies coming into our business, I would tend to think they'd probably have a leg up over a guy like me because, look, if I can figure out a shortcut, I'm going to take the shortcut to do it, right? But I think the way women's minds work, they're more likely to follow a process and not skip steps and be really, really good at what they do. And, everybody wins. Nicole says, a lot of dealerships around my area attend the trade schools and even the vocational schools during their job fairs with a tech or two.
Nice.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. But
and I know,
don't wait for the course. I mean, don't wait for the tech fair. Create the opportunity.
And one of the things that we were discussing last SEMA, there was a couple of actually TechForce was involved in it. There was a couple of forums and they were talking, and that's one of the big important things that came out of it was we need to really find out what does that generation want? How do they want to be treated? What are they expecting? A lot of this generation, they're not the 40-hour, give me a 401k, all that kind of stuff. They're in there. They want to add their Instagram to what they're doing. They want to be, influencers and stuff like that while they're doing it. So let's just figure out how we can all kind of come together and work together instead of trying to teach them, hey, this is what we used to do and this is what you got to do today. And that just turns them off and they just go the other way. So it's definitely being able to learn kind of what the new generation wants in a job.
For the first time ever, we have 5 generations working in our dealerships. Did you know that?
Wow.
5 generations. Okay. And most of the front line employees are the younger folks. Most of the managers are in their 40s.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Each different demographic speaks a different language.
Yes.
And it's critically important for us to know, to your point, they don't want to work bell to bell. I know when I started in this business, it was 6 days a week, bell to bell. We thought nothing of it. But the kids today, they don't want that. And they don't have to, right? They want to work a normal week. They want to have their personal time. And we need to learn how to better communicate with them, because if we better approach them the way they want to be approached, it's a win-win for everybody. There's so much more we can give, and in return get out of them by giving them the opportunities that they would want to be proud to be part of.
Right. And there's just so much more technology when we come to the vehicles themselves. The technology is so great, but the way we teach is all out there. And I know that was real popular at SEMA and PRI. You see a lot of the VR headsets, and that's becoming popular. And again, when you look at that older demographic, they're going to be like, sometimes, that's not good stuff. Forget it. We're not going to do that foo-foo stuff. But that's what that younger group, that's what they connect with. And if you really think about it, there was one that was at a paint booth, and they were doing it for the paint guns, and you'd put on a VR headset and you could actually paint, a car, and the program itself tells you how well you did, what problems you had. So now I can have that student paint 100 cars and not cost me any money, and they can go through the reps. And how valuable is that to be able to put someone through 100 reps before they even get to a car, right? And you can do that in between your classes. You can have one student doing it, everybody else is doing something else. But when we bring this generation to the table for training, we will pull out a big manual and we slap it on the table and we say, okay, this is what you're going to learn. Start on page 1. I mean, it just doesn't connect with them as much.
I always make it a point to learn something from every interaction I have.
Mhm.
And just what you just said, I learned something. Okay. Now, I was fortunate in high school when I was in auto shop, we had a spray booth at our school. Okay. And you learn, the technique, how to hold the can, the spray can, how to move it, how fast, how slow, right? How to go over, all that stuff. But that's trial and error that could cost you money,
Right.
right? That stuff's not cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I never even thought that when you do with the virtual reality headset, that when you do this exercise in the spray booth, let's say, that it actually grades you and tells you how you did and what you need to do better, so that when you're in the real world, you got to be a dynamo.
Oh yeah, that's definitely when I was in PRI, I talked to Jim Lau, the general manager of PRI, and he was the one, he helped us out start our whole project with Formula Drift and all that. And we always talked about training, and he brings that up. And that's like one of the biggest things is we got to bring that training to this next generation. And right now they've talked about how race car drivers have started out from virtual driving simulators.
Oh
And
yeah.
they've trained 3,000 hours and they've never even touched a car. Then they get in the car and they drive that thing, like any other like pro racer. And everyone's like, well, you
Yeah.
must have years of driving. Like, no, it was all simulator. So if we
Pilots
can,
do.
yeah, pilots do it. If we can use that same philosophy, it keeps them engaged, but they learn. It's kind of like
Yeah.
that secret way to make them learn. They're doing it in the way they understand, but they're getting to learn the process. There was another VR one we talked to Toyota, one of the dealerships, and they actually have the VR headsets. And just kind of thought like, what would you guys use those for? And they said, well, we have in-house training. We bring them together and we have them go through an oil change. And it's like, okay, but it's not going to be realistic. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's not completely realistic, the feel, but it's the process. What do you do first?
Right.
What do you do second? What do you do third? And they can end up putting in faults in there. They can make the virtual piece do something wrong, and you have to recognize it and fix it. Those are valuable reps that we can just keep putting them through. And then, again, it's not costing any money, nothing's breaking, that kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's really cool stuff.
If you can get the concepts down, then the physical stuff, I think, would come easier.
Yes.
By having this.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, without spending necessarily a lot of money, to make that a reality for them. Joe Clementi says, for today's workforce, working with purpose is first on their list. For leaders, identifying purpose is how you connect with the culture, with the individual. Beautiful, Joe.
Yep.
Yeah, that is 100%.
And I mean, we're talking about this technology piece. We're talking about TechForce and how you can go onto the computer and you can go onto their site and you get a portal, you get your own profile, and you get to end up going through it. Again, these are things that weren't offered 20, 30 years ago to the up and coming technician or mechanic. They were put into a shop, at times yelled at and told, hey, get over here, you're doing this, you're doing that. Yeah. And here they're actually able to go on there and see other people's stories, watch videos, look at all the different events that are offered to them, so it's just really cool what's offered to these young men and women.
Now I want to, I'm going to bring up the site. Add it on here. Okay. So you sign up for a free account, techforce.org. That's where you go. Mm-hmm. And there's so much stuff here, right? So here's my profile on TechForce. I don't do any of the challenges. I'm in 4 different verticals all the time. So Time is something that is very limited for me. But you could see the leaderboards and the events that are going on. You could see here the scholarships. Okay, I mean, TechForce will award $3 million in needs-based scholarships in 2024. Wow, it's the last I saw was 2.4 million. Now we're looking at $3 million worth of scholarships. That's crazy. So you easily apply for a scholarship right on the site. Okay, it's all in full transparency here. You can keep track of what you've applied for. Here are some of the companies that are helping the mission. I mean, you can see there's a lot of companies here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that are helping our industry.
And I can't see it as well, but I think there's actually there's definitely areas where you can see upcoming events. You can sign up for them.
Yeah, we're going to get to that too. You got a career hub here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, talk about opportunities. And then you've got on the people tab, here are some of the people that are in the program. And then there are a lot of schools throughout the country that are affiliated with TechForce. It just goes on and on.
That definitely helps us when we're going to Atlanta. We're going to different areas, and our area here in Southern California, you know, we don't want to just say, hey, this is the only school to go to. We want to be able to be broad and say, okay, what school is best fit for you? And we can take a look at what's local, what's in your area.
I mean, this is great. Look at this thing. I'm just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and it's not ending.
You're only in the C's?
Wow, yeah, I'm just on the C's. Oh my God. So opportunities are huge. Click on the industry tab. You know, some of the companies, Women Techs Connect in Phoenix, Bridgestone Tower. And then for those that participate in the challenges, the events thing you were talking about moments early. Oh my God, look at this.
Yeah, they have tons of events where, you know, you end up getting opportunities to get free tickets to go to a Mecum auto show or a Mecum auction, or like I said, for us, they're helping us being able to present our program, our Formula Drift programs, where students can actually sign up for the tickets to join that. We don't have this season up yet. I think they usually go by a quarter system, but
okay.
Definitely you'll be able to see that coming up soon.
I mean, there's just so much there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, you know, I picture a 12 or 14-year-old kid that really doesn't know that much about this, showing up at one of these events and just being blown away by it.
Yep. Especially when you have that event where you have a cool car, or, you know, especially for us when we're at Formula Drift, it's starting a car or seeing the cars drift. And now it's just like, wow, I want to work on that, or I want to drive it, or, you know, whatever part of it is.
That's my favorite right here. De Tomaso Pantera.
I saw those Monster Jam ones down at the bottom. Again, just crazy being able to see trucks with, you know, huge tires jumping. You know, it's just crazy stuff.
No, that reminds me of a funny story. I have two daughters, and my eldest daughter, I took her to a monster truck show one time. She's a little toddler, and she was so mad. We're sitting in the bleachers, and she's got her arms folded, and she's got a scowl on her face. I said, what's wrong? This is fun. This is exciting. She looks at me and she says, this is for boys. I'm like, man, now where do I go? Until out on the track pulls a pink monster truck. Okay. Now all of a sudden she went from she's leaning forward. She's looking. Now she's got not a pout on her face. She's got a regular face. And then when the door opened and this lady clad in a pink racing outfit and helmet got out, oh my God, she was ear to ear smiles. The whole thing turned around for her. So I could just see some of these kids that might never have had an opportunity to partake in some of these events here showing up. You know, that's why I'm looking forward to the event that's going to happen in New Jersey. Put it on my calendar, man. I'm excited to be a part of that.
And like I said, that story right there, that's the program. That's what we're talking about right there. It's bringing someone that doesn't even know that, you know, this exists for them. And then all of a sudden they see something similar. It's like, well, if that person can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah.
You know, now they're in the industry. We hear that so many times with the leaders that we talk to in the industry. You know, it's not very common that you hear the person who owns a company or is a technician or whatever. It's like, you know, I was born, I was a kid, and I just always wanted to be a technician. It's always this story of like, I went to this, I saw this, I was like, wow, I'm in. And from then they were hooked. So that's kind of our overall goal in the program is like, we need to get them hooked so that they want to do so much more in the industry.
But the thing that I love about it is the opportunity. I mean, I was a homeowner at a very young age, thanks to the automotive business. You know, it's always been good.
Yep.
You got contests and trivia, and I love this one here, right? The different training things that you have, from as simple as what is a torsion bar, right? I bet you most people today don't even know what that is, you know? Or how does an engine work?
We actually have a little device or a little setup we made. So when we do our activations, we're at a booth. We're all set up. People are coming to the booth, and we'll have some heads, air cleaner, all on a stand, and it has spark plugs in it. And we call it the spark plug challenge. So a person on each side gets there. They have 4 spark plugs. They have the spark plug wrench. All the plugs are on. So it's like, okay, go. Take the plugs off. They have to take each one out, and they have to put each one back in, plugs back on, and whichever side, you know, does it first wins. But you'll be surprised how many people come there and they're just like, well, what's a spark plug? You know, I didn't even know the cars had spark plugs, kind of deal, you know? So they learned something new just by the challenge. But again, that's what we see in this generation. It's, hey, I just get in, I put the keys in, I turn it on. A lot of people don't know how to drive stick. That's becoming a dying art. I know as a police officer, I became by the end, I was a sergeant. We'd have details where we needed an officer to jump in a car and move a car, and they jump out. No, this is stick. And I don't know how to drive stick. And I'm like, what?
You could do anything, but you can't drive stick. Come on.
Right. I mean,
these are training modules. Look at this stuff here. I mean, it's invaluable stuff. Like I said, this may not necessarily be a certification program, but you can learn a lot. Oh, and there's the humble mechanic. Speaking of social media and technicians, right? This guy is like famous. There's so much you can learn. Tips on brakes. This guy's all over the place.
Yeah, you mentioned the certifications and stuff, and I know, again, along this journey, meeting so many different programs, so many different schools that are out there, but then also talking to the industry side of it. And so we've kind of really developed our program around what the industry needs and wants. So sometimes we think everybody needs the 4-year ASE master mechanic before they can get the job. But in
That's how
reality, yeah, in reality, the dealership or, you know, the business just wants somebody who knows their tools, knows how to measure, and then they're going to teach them everything else their way. So it's being able to get them those skills so that they can then get the entry level job and then get in there and be able to work.
And you can literally start right away. I mean,
Right.
the dealerships are so excited and so happy to have somebody that wants to come into our business. They'll teach you, and you get connected with an organization like TechForce. Look at the stuff here that you can learn. How to clean and lube a motorcycle chain, the manufacturing process, all kinds of things that you learn, and it's free.
We actually have some of our students in our classes. This is going to be homework now.
I mean, there's so much here that they can learn. And like you said, it's practical stuff that they can use right away. Understanding the relationship between brake pads and pulsation, all kinds of stuff. Wow. You know, when I started in this business, we had none of this stuff. Nothing. It was all the school of hard knocks.
But wasn't that do we have the everybody had the manuals that, like, you had the manuals for whatever the Ford was that particular year, and that was like the gospel.
Yeah, or Chilton's manual, or the OEM's repair manual, repair guide.
And now everything's on computers. And I showed my 9-year-old the other day a VHS tape, and I just handed it to him and say, "What do you think this is?" And he's just looking at it. What do you do with this thing? This is crazy.
I mean, if you watch all of these videos, there's so much you could learn from this.
You probably could take the ASC test right after.
This is crazy. The importance of bearing preload. Wow. And then what's in the garage here?
Is it the humble mechanic?
There's so much there. Now, it's free for people to join. It is a nonprofit, and the way we help the industry, if you're a company, is to get involved on the sponsorship side of things, right? $3 million, that's a lot of money that's going to be given out this year. Add your organization to the group. See if we can't get that number to 3.5 million, to 4 million. Just think of how much more we can benefit our business, our industry, by doing this. You know, it's win-win for everybody.
Yep.
Wow, that's crazy.
And there's also, like, that page right there there's a lot of nominating technicians that are existing now, or ones that are out there like really standing out. You can really give them a little pat on the back by some of the stuff that TechForce does.
Yeah, that's a great organization. I'm going to play a small clip.
TechForce, the first and only network for next-gen tech.
Welcome to TechForce, a platform dedicated to launching and advancing the careers of next-generation technicians. People like you, students, instructors, working techs, industry leaders, you. Showcase your school, job, and awards. Post your current project and follow your friends. Flex your talent. Follow industry trends and connect with future employers. Connect works on all devices. Compete with other users and climb the leaderboard in daily and special trivia. Scholarships.
$2.3 million in scholarships awarded annually.
Explore your passion, flex your talent, build your career. Join techforce.org.
Bam!
I'm ready to join.
So,
let's go.
a couple of things as we're approaching the hour here regarding future outlook. All right. What are some of the upcoming trends or technologies in the automotive sector that Acceler8 is preparing for its future in training modules. And how do you envision the future of automotive training and Acceler8's role in it?
Well, I mean, definitely, the whole buzz is alternative fuel. And we at Acceler8, we want to make sure that we're getting them exposed to everything that's out there. We want to make sure when they show up to somewhere, to a dealership, to a job, that they have some outlook on, or they have some touching points with something that's out there. So we have in our curriculum, we've added the electric vehicles. We have a couple of companies we work with that actually modify cars. So that's going to become a really big thing. You got your 96 Mustang and you want to change it from gas to electric. They're going to have kits that are going to come out and you're going to be able to just transfer your car over to make it into an electric car. I mean, these are all plans and ideas that are out there, but we want to make sure that the kids know about it and then also know the safety behind it. That's become a big issue that, people start messing around with the electric part of it. And these are high voltage vehicles and you can definitely get hurt, if not, killed playing around with these cars. So we want to teach them the safety part of it, but we want to teach them all the different hybrids, combustible engines. And in our program, we actually just got late last year, we got a hydrogen vehicle donated to us from Toyota, Drive H2 and Valley Can. So they had a program going on where they were donating these cars, and we ended up picking up one. So it's a really cool opportunity for us to bring it into class and be able to see it. What is this? They knew nothing about it. We didn't know too much about, hydrogen cars. And now we're learning all about those types of things too. So like I said, we want to make sure that they're always seeing the newest stuff that's out there in the tech world. Just like we talked about the VR glasses and, doing things like that. We want to add all that kind of stuff to them so that when they get there to that dealership or that job, they're well prepared.
And they have options,
Right. Yep.
So in closing, why don't you share a personal reflection? What's been your most rewarding part of being a part of Acceler8, and where do you see your role going?
I mean, it's like I guess it's like any other kind of business. You have your dreams that are out there where you see it going. The program, and we talked about it earlier, it's a lot of work. But then every single time you see these kids graduate the program, graduate a class, graduate a workshop, you hear them talk to their parents, the parents come and talk to you, and everyone's just got a smile on their face because they didn't know anything about it. They didn't know about the automotive. They didn't know about the jobs. That's the rewarding part. So all that work, and you're kind of like, man, this is too much. Every time you see those smiles, it kind of recharges you. And it's like, okay, let's start the next class. And, let's get out there and get some more foundations on board and companies on board to be able to do this. We definitely want to grow this program to become something where we are in different cities, different parts of LA, as well as different parts of the country, and be able to kind of replicate this style, get the students sparked, get them into the shop, train to what they need so they can either do an entry-level job or they can continue on in the more in-depth 2-3 year automotive programs.
Wow. That's beautiful, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
All right. Stay on after we log off here for a second. So I want to thank everybody that watched live and those that watch on the replay. We have a large replay audience. This is an important thing that Acceler8 and TechForce are doing because it helps everybody. It helps on the human side of things. It gives opportunities to kids that maybe had very limited opportunities. And I like the whole going from limited to unlimited, to be able to do that for somebody. I think that's huge, right? The journey from birth to death is a very short one, right? We tend to focus on a lot of things that aren't important. You know, when we go into this round, how will we have impacted our world? What good have we done? And how have we made someone else's life better? And when I talk to guys like Charles here and the folks at TechForce, you know, I feel really proud to be associated with this organization because they do so many good things for so many people. You know, I'm proud to be sitting here next to you, man, because what you do is really inspiring. So I thank you. I want to wish everybody a safe and successful next week. And we'll see you next week on Sunday Night Live. Don't go away, Charles.
All right.
Thank
you.
you.